Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sarah Fenske. Many people these days are working from home, but that's not an option for Metro bus drivers, nor is it an option for taxi drivers. Both are considered essential workers, and even though they've seen big decreases in customers, the people who need them really need them. So how do they stay safe when germs are everywhere? Ron Klein, executive director of the St. Louis Metropolitan Taxicab Commission, said the commission is stressing cleanliness and protective measures when possible.
We've told them how important it is for them to sanitize. We serve the public at the Taxicab Commission. The drivers themselves answer to the taxicab industry. So our rules and regulations are that they must keep their cab clean and sanitized before they transport the public. What we do have found, though, is that protective equipment for drivers, which is hard for anyone to find, is also hard for the drivers to find. So we have been soliciting donations from the community to help keep this cab sanitized. And just yesterday, the owner of 6 restaurants in St. Louis, Vindicet and the Hamilton Group, actually donated sanitizer as much sanitizers as the drivers needed to sanitize their cabs. So we are getting some community support, which is really good.
That's Ron Klein, executive director of the St. Louis Metropolitan Taxicab Commission. And Ron told us the drivers' revenues are way down. Some have given up driving for now altogether, while others are still out there. He explained the demand.
If you live in like, say, South St. Louis, where, the bus lines are great if you want to walk up to a bus, but most of the people the elderly that the cab drivers drive, can't make the trek to the bus stop. So, the taxis are their only choice, unless they can get a family member or they can get, food delivered, through other, order online, which is another issue in itself. As you know, there's a lot of elderly people that aren't computer savvy, so they still pick up a telephone and dial away onto to the taxi company.
And that is the Metropolitan Taxicab Commission's Ron Klein. He asks members of the public who depend on cabs to be patient with drivers right now. They're dealing with a huge loss of income, as well as having to clean their cabs thoroughly multiple times every day. And those are problems that bus drivers know well. Joining us today to talk about it is Reginald Howard. He's president of the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 788, which represents Metro bus drivers and mechanics, along with other workers. Reginald, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Now, Reginald, you've been working for Metro for nearly 25 years. Have you ever dealt with a time that's been as challenging as this one?
Never have.
Now, the Post-Dispatch reported last week that several Metro employees have tested positive for coronavirus. Were those some of your members of your union?
Yes, they were.
And what do we know about those cases at this point?
Well, they're protected by the HIPAA law. They won't, reach into and tell us anything about that. All they'll do is let us know that we had positive.
Okay. And so you have some positives. You don't know specifics on who they are. I assume at this point they are not anywhere close to working.
They quarantine at this time.
Okay. Has Metro made any changes due to the reality of this being something that could affect any of your members at any point?
Well, at one location, they work from inside. From my headquarters down on Broadway, they set a lot of people up to where they could work from home. Out in the bus garages, not at this time.
People are having to keep doing what they were doing.
They have to continue to do what they're doing. Well, we're asking for a deep cleaning to get an outside contractor and see if they can come in there and do a deep cleaning of the buildings, because operators spend a lot of time in their sitting area waiting for their runs to go out. And we're just asking for, outside contractors to build the confidence back up in the operators that, hey, this building is clean and sanitized.
Mm-hmm. Has that been something that Metro has been willing to do?
We don't know directly. If they have, we heard they were supposed to be, but we don't know directly because that's some of the reason why a lot of people have not came into work.
Okay. So people are choosing to call off rather than have to deal with the conditions or possible conditions. Okay.
They self-quarantine themselves.
Okay. How is that affecting the ability to have enough drivers for the buses?
From what we heard, is causing a problem as far as getting the runs out, But, we're still saying is for the operators to feel comfortable in the situation that we face with a pandemic that nobody knows what the cure is, or what to do other than stay at home. So in Metro, what they're telling them is if you're sick, stay at home.
So bus drivers are staying at home, but then that maybe causes some other problems.
Yes, it could possibly so.
Okay. If you rely on the bus service, we are interested in hearing from you, whether you use bus or Metrolink. If you still rely on public transit right now, we're wondering what your experience has been like. You can give us a call at 314-382-8255. That's 382-TALK. Or you can send us a tweet at STL on air or email us at talk@stlpublicradio.org. Now, Reginald, you mentioned the drivers hoping that there would be some deep cleaning of the buildings that you all use. Has there been deep cleaning of these buses?
That right there, no. We have cleaning companies. We have cleaning companies with contracts that clean at each facility. And there's been, questions for a long time on the cleanliness of the buses. But what we're asking, like I said there again, we want them to have some professional cleaning at least once to build the confidence of the operators, at least once. For that, and also, throughout the nation, everybody, we finally got rear boarding and rear entry, where they come in the back door and they exit out the back door. We've fought for a while for PPEs, for the gloves and the sanitizers, the hand sanitizer and stuff like that.
And by PPE, you mean the personal protective equipment?
Personal protective equipment, exactly.
The drivers want to be wearing this just like, say, a medical worker might be wearing it.
Right, because you got people from outside that's getting in and out of these buses all day long, and you don't know what they may be carrying. So the thing is a confidence builder to make them feel safe.
And so is that something that's being provided right now to bus drivers?
For the most part, yes. It was a while for us to be able to find a lot of the equipment. We can't find masks, and nobody around could find masks. But we finally got a hold of the gloves and the hand sanitizer and the wipes to wipe down your area and stuff when you get on the bus. And
when you say we, is this the union trying to provide things for these drivers?
Everybody's looking at the company, really the company.
Okay.
But this is a collective effort from everybody. Because of some things that they can't find, we've been trying to look and try to find it ourselves too. Because what we're trying to do is provide for people that's driving and operating these buses.
That makes sense. So Metro, it sounds like there was initially some problem finding this personal protective equipment. But at this point, what you're hearing from the drivers is that is something that most of them have been able to get their hands on.
Right. And the thing about the sanitizing of the buses and the buildings and everything is a confidence builder. Because right now people are afraid. And then I understand them being frustrated and afraid because there's no cure.
Yeah, I can certainly see why people would be afraid. And as you say, they're right there dealing with the members of the public. Something I find myself wondering is when it comes to bus boarding and fares, typically a rider is less than 6 feet from the driver when they pay their $2 or swipe their pass through the card reader. Has that protocol changed?
Yes, like I told you, they're doing rear entry. We're not taking fares right now.
Oh, okay. So buses are no longer bus riders don't have to pay?
No, not right now.
Okay. Is that also the case with Metrolink on the trains?
That's correct. There's no fares being taken right now.
Okay. And so that allows people not to have to be as close as they would have been when they were coming through those front doors.
Right. They're not coming through the front doors unless it's an 88 passenger with a wheelchair or something like that.
Okay.
Other than that, it's rear boarding.
And is it your sense from talking to your drivers, are passengers staying away from the drivers, staying away from each other?
Well, as far as the passengers are concerned, that right there is an issue still because they're allowing more than 10 people on a bus, where CDC states 10 people or less, and then that's including the operator.
So people maybe can't spread out if there's more than 10 on it.
That's correct.
Okay. I want to go to the phone line. Susie is calling from Creve Coeur. Susie, hi, you're on St. Louis on the air.
Hi, I'm so grateful for the service of the buses, and I want them to thrive. Could you tell someone that might be afraid to ride a bus what they could do to be proactive when they're getting on the bus so they would feel more confidence in riding them safely. For instance, what would they do to cover themselves, or what would they touch or not touch, or how would they, or where would they seat to be proactive to use the buses, support them, and be supported?
Susie, those are great questions. And I don't know if Reginald has the answer here. I know he's the president of the local union. Obviously not in particular a COVID-19 expert. But Reginald, any thoughts on things that bus drivers can do to just make sure everybody's staying safe right now?
Well, it's not much a bus driver can do.
Bus riders. I just misspoke there.
Okay. You have to protect yourself. If you have to wear gloves, I've seen people walking down the street with gloves on and masks and stuff on their faces and stuff like that. And like I said, as far as keeping your hands washed and everything like that, but you got to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. So you'd like to see passengers take these restrictions as seriously as they can, to be wearing masks, to not be getting on the bus if they're sick, things like that.
That's correct.
Okay. Those are some good suggestions. And Susie, thank you for that question and also your appreciation for our local bus drivers. I want to go back to the phone lines. Nancy is calling from St. Louis. Nancy, hi, you're on St. Louis on the Air.
Yes, good morning. I guess my thought is, at the very least, understanding that we do not have testing facilities that are adequate, at the very least, are bus drivers able to obtain, or the union for the bus drivers, are their thermometers, that each bus driver can be tested every day before he sets out on his route to make sure he himself or she herself does not have a temperature. That would sort of halt the transmission of the virus if they could be stopped before they set out on a route.
Nancy, that's a good idea. I know at City Hall, for example, before people enter, they're checking their temperature. Reginald, any idea if that's happening right now for drivers?
Yes, that started last Monday.
Okay.
They have to take their temperature prior to them signing in to go to work.
Well, Nancy, that must be good news to hear that is something that Metro has implemented.
And is the equipment available? There are thermometers to use, I assume, from what your answer was.
They have a company that tests prior to them coming in the building.
Okay. So, Reginald, somebody is there with a precise thermometer who's checking everybody, is what you're saying.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, thank you for that call, Nancy. And Reginald, that's great to hear. Bigger picture question. Bus and train drivers are there every day. They're interacting with the public. They don't know who's going to get on that bus. Do you feel like they're being paid enough right now to work in what is really a high-risk environment?
You're never paid enough. Mm-hmm. And that question is being brought to the forefront about hazard pay, for performing this work today under these conditions. So you'll never get paid enough.
And at this point, are bus drivers getting hazard pay for being out there taking these shifts?
No, not right now.
Okay. Now, Metro Transit workers approved a contract last December after months of negotiations, up until this point where COVID-19 ended up just dominating what we're all thinking about. What was morale like in these last few months leading up to this problem?
Leading up into this problem was going pretty good. It was pretty quiet. Mm-hmm. But once this thing surfaced, it's been a total uproar.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like people are just feeling a lot of anxiety right now, the people in your union.
Yes, they are.
What's the number one thing that they would like to see coming out of management at this point? I know there's a number of priorities if they had to pick one.
Sanitization of the buildings and the buses.
Okay. Well, that's great to hear, and I hope this is something that Metro leaders are listening to. It seems like that might be something doable. So you'd like to see that happen?
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, Reginald Howard, president of the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 788, thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you.
And good luck to you and your members. I hope you guys can stay safe out there.
All right, thank you. We appreciate it.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.